Hi, rock stars. This is Beth Azor. I wrote a book called the Retail Leasing Playbook. This podcast will go over a few chapters each week to discuss the highlights of how you can lower your vacancy and increase your occupancy. I hope you enjoy it. Today, we are on chapter 60. Find at least one way to be useful to someone else every day. Isn't that what we all talk about all the time? Give value. Do you find an article that you could send to a friend, someone in your office, a prospect? Maybe you are prospecting bike stores and you find an article about what's happened in the biking industry and with products since COVID. Send that out. Maybe you have a senior in your office that's preparing for a big tenant rep tour. Can you take an hour or two and stop from what you're doing, especially you juniors, and say, hey, is there something I can do to help you out? Even if it's, on your lunch hour, taking their car and getting it washed and putting gas in it. I know that might sound demeaning to some of you. I would do, if I had a senior in my office and they were representing huge, big boxes, and that was something that I wanted to get in on eventually, I would absolutely volunteer to get their car washed and their gas filled up. I've had interns that have worked for me that I've called and said, hey, I need you to go pick up my kid from summer camp. Just anything you can do to be willing and to offer to help will be thought of and will separate yourself from the rest of the pack. So think about, what can I do one time every day to help someone in my industry, in my company? How can I be useful? What can I do to make someone else's life easier? Rock stars do that. Have a great week. Thank you for listening to this week's podcast. I hope you learned a few nuggets to help increase occupancy and lower vacancy. See you next week, where we'll go over a few more chapters of my book, The Retail Leasing Playbook.